out the gates. We are going to be Inferno Strides here, but Cloud9 is going to be first pick, and they straight up open with the Zeratul ban once more. Toronto the response, and we'll see what Cloud9 looks to go to. They have been prioritizing Sonya Falstad and what was it? I forgot the other one. That was my bad.
No, you're fine. I was just going to say that, you know, Cloud9, not that they need the confidence boost, but the fact that, you know, they have struggled with the Vikings in the past. What a great shot in the arm to go up against what hero you've had tons of trouble with in the past and overcome it. And not from a no-name team, but from Cognitive. You know, they're going to go into this game with a lot of confidence, and I think that may even affect the way they draft here.
I think it's going to show more than anything out of Cognitive. It shows that, okay, the Zeratul was banned out, and they picked the strategy they know C9 was weakest against, and they didn't win with it. They even took the risk of putting Glaurung on Vikings. That's not even saying that Glaurung is a bad Vikings by any means, but it is something I've never seen Vikings played by Glaurung, I think, almost ever. And so I feel like it's not that it wasn't a comfort pick, but it was more of definitely not something that we've seen reoccurring over and over here at the professional level of Heroes of the Storm. But we do see in the draft now, Falstead's going to be the first pick here for Cloud9. Kel'Thas and Stitches as a response to Cognitive. So deny picks here from what we saw last game on Cloud9. They're going to take away the Stitches, put it on, like I said earlier in today, Cognitive Faye, and both Cognitive Faye and Glaurung were both known in the alpha as being two of the best Stitches players in the game. So really big pickup there. Response going to be Johanna because of the map. Really good choice there. They're prioritizing her for the Infernal Shrines, being able to get that Punisher a little bit easier. Worried about wave clear. And then also Luck in the Sonya that they also love on Audrey.
You know, I know we're on the ban phase, but as far as the next pick, looking at Cognitive, if they pick up Sonya and Johanna, and they've already got Falstad, you really, 9 times out of 10, you're going to want something that has Giant Killer. I know a lot of people gravitate towards Falstad first, but with him off the table, do you think this could possibly be a Rainer for Cognitive, or do you think that's too predictable?
I don't think that they absolutely need it for the Giant Killer's sake. I do think they need a sustained damage dealer. I would agree with you there. I don't think Giant Killer is an absolute must, especially against like the Falstad style compositions, because typically those heroes struggle if they blow their load too fast with the Falstad Mighty Gust coming out. I love the Jaina ban there coming out from Cognitive. It works so well with the Sonya, the slow, and everything else. It just synergizes pretty well. So good ban there coming out from Cognitive, being very heads up about it. What I would like to see out of Cloud9 here. They do need that kind of AA. I wouldn't be surprised if they did ban the Rainer, but at the same time, I don't know if I'm that worried about it. If anything, that's it. I think even if they don't lock down the Zagara, I think I'd be more afraid of Zagara because the laning phase that she brings, not only has she got that same I kill tanks very well, but her laning phase is so dominant. And also the site she's going to provide for the map and the zoning tools. So that's where I like that far more when it comes to the ban. Same concept, just not Giant Killer oriented, which was what I was kind of pulling at before. All right, so Cognitive, what do they need to be doing? Yes, they do need that damage dealers. Tassadar is looking to be hovered here. Great synergy with the Stitches, providing sight in that Fog of War for Stitches to get colossal hooks. Also, in the chokeholds in this map, maybe going a force wall in order to ensure that those people actually die once they are hooked. And then Rainer, that was the AA you were talking about. Really smart C9 banning out the Zag so they respond with the Rainer. Good job from Cloud9 with that ban.
Honestly. I just assumed that they were going to ban out Zagara, and that's why I immediately jumped to Rainer. So yeah, of course. Thank you very much for the back. And then Morales being hovered by Cloud9, as you mentioned earlier, this is a favorite healer of Cloud9, and I have seen them do some great work with Morales on Infernal Shrines. So many ways for her to escape, but at the same time, there's so many ways she can get flanked here. It definitely is a great pick if you trust your team to defend you, but nobody plays guard the VIP like Cloud9 does.
See, Morales actually pulls some value on this map. Keep in mind the Stitches hook is going to be there. The Tassadar Force Wall and the sustained fights are definitely going to be a problem for Cloud9. But at the same time, because the Immortal takes the Punisher takes so long to actually capture those 40 objectives, just takes forever. Morales gains an absurd amount of value at that point in time. So keep in mind, so does Stitches in theory because he's going to have a lot of hook potential. But Morales is a great healer there. Malfurion's another one who kind of gains a little bit of a healing advantage because of how long the map objective actually takes to skirmish over. So I do like the Morales pickup there. It also works with the Sonya that they like so much. From this point out, what are they going to go with this comp? I wouldn't be surprised if we saw kind of another Sylvanas. I don't think that's going to be the go-to. Raynor is an option as well. Vala is another beautiful option. The only reason I kind of pull away from Vala is largely just because we know we're going to see a double healer. Oh man, but the Leoric,
Wow, triple tank into Raynor.
Oh
I'm
man.
very interested. I mean, they only got 5 seconds left, unless they're trolling us like they have been known to
And
do.
I think they're gonna take it because of the wave clear. So,
Yeah.
how are you gonna win the video game if you can't get a Punisher? That's kind of what they're saying here with that Q, with the W from Johanna. Leoric's gonna sit there, swipe. You're gonna notice it's gonna be very important that the minute Johanna goes in and uses her knight takes pawn, Leoric's gonna follow with her very closely and ensure that he gets his Q to gain max value. So they deny them from their opponent. The poke coming out from Cognitive though could potentially steal some of those little buggers in order to get the Punisher there. But overall, going to be the double tank, triple melee. I'm not too worried about the Raynor for the most part. I don't feel like he's the most terrifying part of the comp. If anything, it's that number one, Stitches is always scary if you don't manage to get the hooks. And number two is Kael'thas's chain bomb scares me more than anybody else when running a 3 melee composition. But I'm just glad to see that they're running Leoric with kind of a paired tank there. So really interesting draft coming out of the two. Wave clear obviously sitting in favor of Cloud9. They are going to dictate the pace of this game, but it's still definitely falling into the roots of what Cloud9 likes to do currently in the meta. It's got that Sonya, it's got the Falstad, it's got the Medic. 3 of the picks that we saw last game, the Sonya, Sylvanas was a, what's it called? A counter pick to the Vikings. So and they've gone to the comfort route. So you have Cognitive off of what their go-to is. There is no Viking surprise, and C9 sitting on what they like to have. Cognitive has to be taking the initiative to come back in this game.
Absolutely. Cognitive feeling the pressure here as they are 1 loss away from having to wait for another tournament to secure their spot in the Spring Championship. But I mean, this is a fantastic map, and anything can happen. Cognitive has shown that they are no slouches with this new roster. Of course, probably going to have Kael'thas with Faye again. I'm really excited to see the complemented play between Stitches and Tassadar here. Anytime you can see those Oracle hooks, it's always a great time. So I'm super pumped to see what comes out here. On the left side, of course, we do have Cognitive. We have Faye on Kael'thas. We have Glaurung on Stitches. We have Kothan on Raynor. We have Iacona on Tassadar. And we have Caterpillar on Diablo.
And in the right, or actually, yeah, on the right-hand side of the map here, we do have the legendary Cloud9. We are going to have Dunk Train going to be on that Morales. Soda is going to be played by iDream. Arthlon is actually going to fill this melee role when triple melees and get to play the Leoric here. K1 Pro is going to be on the Falstad once more, and King Caffeine's going to rely on that Johanna. Nothing too crazy here at the level 1, and they're going to clash head-to-head.
Definitely. It looks like there's just going to be a little bit of poke back and forth here. Nobody overextending to try and get the kill. A little bit of... Oh! Glaurung trying to get the hook so they can get the early kill again. Haven't seen any fantastic Stitches hooks as far as this series so far, but I am excited about seeing... wow. Okay, it looks like they are going to meet a little bit more hardcore here. Arthalon is going in, gets the heals from Dunk Train, and it seems like now Raynor is going to go ahead and split and head up north to get that soak in.
Yeah, it seems like there's nothing to worry about here in this head-to-head right now. The hooks are kind of the name of the game in the early game for Cognitive with their tile composition. Keep in mind, they are losing a little bit on these rotations here for the time being. They sent iDream to take that solo 1v1 smart decision-making there. That solo Lior can come down with Johanna and have the superior wave clear, so now they can match them in these type of rotations. Lior's going to go in at the same time. iDream actually with the early wave clear. This is going to be a 5 vs 4. Falstad's not going to rotate, so never mind there. There's the rotation plays here. And C9 actually taking the unique rotation route between top and mid and bottom all at the same time, kind of half committing to every rotation. So interesting decision making here from them early game.
Well, certainly, and it's definitely going to keep Cognitive guessing because this is definitely some very aggressive rotations. Typically, you just see them going through a couple of lanes here, but it looks like they're basically doing staggered rotations, and it looks like they're going to meet in the middle here. iDream going hard on Caterpillar, Arthalon trying to get an angle a little bit further in, but they are just going to clear this lane and back off. Oh, fantastic pull there from Glaurung. Unfortunately, it was on to Leoric, who is just going to use his walk to go ahead and moonwalk on out of there.
Rotational advantage. Leoric is actually going to the top lane in order to Arthalon to ensure that his team gets the experience lead. Smart choice here, but if the fight's going to be picked in that meantime, it will be 5 vs 4. His team, Glaurung and Cognitive, knowing that Leoric is separate or manage.
We have a pause.
There's going to be the pause here. Yep, small pause here. There's going to be a little bit of lag. So what we see here is a situation to where K1 Pro, or not K1 Pro, excuse me, Cognitive is going to be 10 little guys up already on the Punisher over their opponents. Leoric is going to stay top lane to ensure that he gets the XP advantage here. So it's essentially C9 kind of saying, okay, we're willing to trade XP for that Punisher as long as the Punisher doesn't gain too much value in the early game. It doesn't scale very hard. So it's going to be... All right, but it looks like they are going to move into the game. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. And the game's going to be back here. So the XP advantage will be for C9, but they are giving up the Immortal. Keep in mind, if they all rotate, there we go. Chthon Lux now rotating top. If they all, a C9 hard collapse, they have very good wave clear for this Punisher.
Definitely. It does look like Dunk Train is going to stay in here. King Caffeine being very aggressive. Of course, being on Joanna, you have the ability to escape almost having 9 lives. But King Caffeine is going to stay in. It looks like Caterpillar is trying to push the issue a little bit.
Arthalon with the flank.
Definitely, and it looks like he's going straight onto Iacona, but no, they switch over to Caterpillar. He does have a ton of health, but it is quickly dispatched by the combined might of Cloud9 here.
And Raynor now rotating down. They only need 7 more. Keep that in mind. Only 7 more. Faye is looking to get those 5 more as best she can with that poke. And I honestly think Cognitive is actually going to lose this here because of how early they were able to get on it. As long as Gong doesn't go out too far there, man, 3 more. This is going to be a rough fight here for Cognitive. They just need the poke onto those few ones. There you go. 2 more. At this time, 1 more is going to go in favor of them. And there you go. That all came down to the early game. Because they ended up getting that 15 advantage while Arth went to go soak to the top lane to get that XP, they end up falling behind there. Are you still here? I'm actually lagging really bad, so I'm confused.
Yeah. No.
Okay, am I still clear?
Yeah, you were perfectly clear. I haven't heard any problems from you at all. However, the person that is not clear is Dunk Train, who goes down very quickly. Arthalon does have to ghostly walk there behind his front gates to make sure he doesn't go down. They still have not been able to bait the Punisher over the wall. And as I say that, of course, he does go on to K1 Pro, taking half his health and a couple of punches. And it does look like that's going to be the cue for Cognitive to go ahead and back off and start soaking a little bit more. They're not going to get too much out of this.
Yeah. All right, you've turned into a robot for me, so I apologize. Let me know if at any point I become a robot.
You are not a robot at all, and you sound fantastic.
So the objective now going to be obviously going in favor of Cognitive there because of that early rotation. They don't gain too much out of it. A front wall, the XP is going to give them a small advantage there, but with the extra soak that Arth managed to ensure earlier, they aren't going to be too far behind here. Merc Control going to fall in favor of Cognitive, hoping for a little bit of a poor rotation from the legendary Cloud9, but that's not going to be the case. Winning in the night camp, winning on the bottom half, and in the top lane, Raynor should be slowly a little bit losing that lane, kind of depends all on the harass there. Arthalon's going to be the safe lane here, but there's not much to really talk about. Nobody's going to be taking a big strategic advantage here. It's all about the soak. It's all about the front walls if you can get them, but obviously both teams understanding the decision-making of their opponents and never going to be risking that. And it's going to come down to the race to 10, which currently is being led by Cognitive from that early rotations there. They do have about a half-level lead over Cloud9.
Definitely. I think we're going to look for Cloud9 to make some big plays prior to 10. They definitely know that they're lagging behind here. They definitely don't want to go into any fights sub 10 if Cognitive does manage to hit it first. Looks like they are on par to do. I wouldn't be surprised if Cloud9 got together and started looking for somebody to pick here shortly, or if they just bide their time and, wait to hit 10 naturally.
Yeah, I think they're going to try and sit back here. They do capture both camps on the top half. The Shrine is going to spawn in the middle, which causes both teams to clear out the Shaman on top. K1 Pro getting caught out a little bit. Glong's going to look for the hook, maybe a follow-up. Dunk Train very patient on that stop juke there. Now here you see Cloud9 is timing this Merc camp with the map objective. Keep in mind, it will be pushing towards mid, so it will be pretty close in proximation to the actual map objective there. So it's not going to get too much value out of it. Caterpillar already face checking, but the early rotation, Cloud9, 4 people there. Caterpillar getting overly aggressive.
I think he was trying to, I don't think he realized that he was so far out of position there. Like, he definitely wanted to try and steal that, but Cloud9 having none of it, saying thanks for the free kill, and working their way back up to even XP here as everybody heads up mid towards the, the Shrine.
Oh, then a pick on the lower half. The map is going to go down. The tasks that are overextending quite a bit. Honestly, it felt like a lot of came down to like a slow rotation from the upper half of the map because Cognitive really wanted their Shaman to be winning on the top lane. You see K1 now just responding to it. Did manage to get a turret out of that, but it's not going to be that much. 20 is going to be 20 of the little guys are going to be sitting in favor. 28, excuse me, now of Cloud9. They don't need to risk anything. They're not, even if they fall behind at 10, they're going to have the poke. They're going to have the wave clear. And this Punisher, for the most part, is most likely going to go in their favor. Good attempt of steal there out from Faye. In the mid lane there, but once 10 is achieved here, now the ultimate is coming out. We do have the Leoric and Tomb Gus Styles composition from Cloud9. We see the Blessed Shield. Nothing too crazy, and it's going to be baited over the wall here, and they're going to look to take the front wall. Keep in mind, Cloud9 is giving up XP in other lanes, which means they're going to be really trying to force right now. Hyperion coming out. Chthon Luck taking a lot of damage there, Josheb.
Yeah, definitely trying to push him back there with the Hyperion, but it looks like they are more than happy to push the issue. King Caffeine is pushing it a little bit further. We definitely do have... Oh, it goes down there. You have the Gus there that does combo well with what the tomb goes down. We certainly, oh my goodness, the carnage is everywhere. It looks like King Caffeine does manage to go, K1 escaping here. iDream trying to run away. The hook misses. It looks like King Caffeine is going to go down, and that is a 3-for-1 trade on the side of Cognitive.
Caterpillar had an insane play right there. He hid below out of the fog of war, knowing that Cloud9 was looking to take that initiation. The Punisher went down, it left out, and then all of Cloud9 funneled between the turret in the mid lane and the fort. And what he did then was punish by pushing Medic a little bit deeper, getting him into a worse positioning there, and then Lightning Breath right down that funnel, hitting almost a full Lightning Breath on a minimum of 3 targets the entire time, almost 4. Caterpillar single-handedly turning that fight around from his team there on that Diablo. So really well done. Cloud9 possibly overstaying a little bit and definitely expressing very easily what they're trying to do by committing all 5 people to that shrine. I was surprised that they allowed the risk of getting caught when they very much expressed they were going to force that team fight by not even losing Fog of War and trying to bait Soak in the other lane. So Cloud9 kind of articulating their play, but very great punish there from
Medic
Caterpillar.
Way out of position here. It does look like he's going to pop his ult here. Glarong does pop Bile to try and give some time for Caterpillar to escape. Dunk Train with the huge bait, as it turns out, manages to get a pick for their trouble.
Yeah, no, really well done. The lack of hesitation on that Diablo is a part of the reason he's going to get an advantage, but also staying behind a little bit there. Chthon Luck almost going to be caught there. Glowing, barely surviving. K1 Pro with a beautiful Q, and Chthon Luck walks away with a calculated amount of health at this point. Both teams are going to reset here. 13 tier advantage is going to be slightly achieved. Arthlon with a nice E there to dodge the hook on Glowing, but he is going to be looking to get 13 here. With this 13 tier advantage, it's not going to be met by both teams at roughly the exact same time. We do see Faye taking more traditional build this game, so she will hit her power spike at 13 with that chain bomb.
Definitely. And Raynor, as you mentioned, I don't know how he escaped with the health that he did, but I'm sure his life flashed before his eyes so vividly he remembers where he left his keys. Because my goodness, he had no health when that went down. It looks like... Yeah. Oh, great wall here. Arthlon's still able to escape. They do manage to pick up the Merc camp as well, and now they're back. Making Cognitive choose how they're going to lose, because either they're going to fight for this or they're going to go up.
Falset just now flying down, so they are going to look to try and start this fight here. Great wall there. Arthlon and King K1 Pro looking to get the flank there. The stim drone out. There's only 8 left.
Oh, iDream managing to get onto Glarong here. Glarong is going to go down. The unstoppable fire breath here from Diablo is going to melt Cloud9. They managed to stay up thanks to some great heals from Dunk Train, and it looks like he's going to go down. King Caffeine, however, that's going to explode. He goes down as well. K1 Pro is going to... So much spread here from Faye. Fantastic job getting the bombs out. It is going everywhere, and it looks like the 4th of July on Cloud9 right now.
Yeah, no, fireworks are going off everywhere, and that was C9 deciding to keep K1 Pro in the top lane as long as they can, taking the camp as well, and they do end up losing another Immortal, even though they do have better wave clear than their opponents with that Johanna and with that Leoric. It's almost like they're voluntarily willing to risk losing these Punishers, which I think is fine for the time being, but if this pattern keeps holding true later in the game, these Punishers become no joke. Right now, they are just like these little guys that like to go full John Cena, get a little smack here, get a little smack there, and they don't do too much, but as this game goes on, if they keep deciding to try and maximize that XP value like they have been, which keep in mind because they've lost the Punishers has gained them almost nothing at this point, I'm afraid for what's going to happen with Cloud9. I feel like with their wave clear, they should be trying to abuse it as best they can, but Shaman's going to be picked up here for Cognitive. Both teams are sitting pretty even across the board structurally, almost the same, XP almost the same, and it does look like the fight over the Cloud9 Shamans here is what's going to happen next.
Definitely, and it looks like they smartly decide to back off. They can see the writing on the wall here as Cognitive does come in and start to contest, but they think better of it. They're going to go head down and clear that mid lane instead.
Yeah, they do rotate the mid. They're taking advantage of the fact that they know their opponents are going to be taking that Shaman camp. Bam, that's going to be a free wall. Good decision making from Cognitive, trying to capitalize other places on the map. There's not a lot of free XP, if you will, left anywhere else on the map. Usually I call free kind of front walls for forts because you can just take them out so quickly and kind of walk away, just like we saw for Cognitive. But on the face of Cognitive, they don't have much free XP. C9 does have a little bit on the bottom and top half, so they might be trying to abuse that in order to hit 16 here. But it does look like they're going to be a little bit safer. Both teams closing in on 16. It's going to be interesting to see. Faye is going to get only stronger when the 16 tier is achieved with that arcane barrier. That's where her defensiveness and her aggression can come into play there. We haven't seen too many hooks, but fishing hook will come into play most likely here at 16, and that's where Glong will be making those big plays.
Absolutely. You can see him looking right now. Oh, just a little too short on Dunk Train right there. If he had fishing hook, they'd be fine. Fantastic flying from K1 Pro. He's a little out of position, though. He is going to go no, he actually is going to go down. Diablo does manage to blow his breath at the last moment. Arthalon's going to go down to that living bomb there, and Hyperion definitely also trying to zone people out. Great hook from Glaron, managing to get onto Dunk Train, and that medic has nowhere to run. She is quickly going to be dispatched.
This is huge for Cognitive. This is what's going to set them into a position to possibly win this game. This is going to lead to them 4 seconds before the Shrine's going to spawn. That's going to be most likely their Shrine as long as they commit to it. They have Mercs pushing in the bottom lane, which are now being forced to be cleaned up by their opponents. They are going to look to take more of the Mercs. There you go. Denial, Glorong, and Iacona are going to be looking to take that camp to deny from them while Faye cleans up everything else. They have 16-tier Spike. She does actually go backdraft this game. Keep in mind, against this triple melee, if they do get chain bombed, it's going to hurt. It's going to be fireworks everywhere, as you put it earlier in the game. 20 of them got to be picked up by their opponents here. But a beautiful capitalization there.
Great gust from K1 Pro to make sure they get that. Although Tassadar throws down the offensive wall to make sure they can't retreat. Here comes the fire, and of course, it's a 1-1 trade so far. Arthalon trying to get away, but he is going to go down. So yes, they managed to get that Merc camp, but at the cost of a 2v1 trade.
Absolutely, and that's, again, I feel like that's the second teamfight in a row we've seen C9 try and force where it's not been necessarily the best decision-making. Earlier, Cloud9 decided to entomb. Not only did they miss the entomb, Falstad trusted the entomb going down. K1 Pro went very deep and ended up almost getting one shot for trying to get a gust to respond to that situation there. And again, Cloud9 showing a little bit signs of weakness there. They are going to lose this next Punisher. This is going to be 100% a fort. They're going to bait it over the wall in the next couple of seconds here. Arthalon a little bit out of position and might not bait over the wall. They might try and force the fight now because of the situation.
Listen, John Cena stands where he wants to stand, and right now, he does get baited onto King Caffeine, but it is outside the wall. He is isolated, has the pop is unstoppable to get away. Oh, man.
Falls out with the gust.
Oh, the offensive gust misses everyone. K1 Pro isolating himself heavily. He's going to go down, but it looks like in exchange for Diablo, who is going to come right back up thanks to his trait, though.
Absolutely, that is going to be a 1-for-1, but they burn Leoric's Entomb, they burn Gust, they burn Sonya's Wrath of the Berserker, and Diablo's going to respond instantly. This is going to be 5 versus 4 for 30 seconds. How is Cognitive going to take advantage of it? This is where they're going to separate themselves away from this game and where they're going to take a victory. If they're going to do it, they need to push their advantage as hard as they possibly can. Front walls of keeps, anything they can possibly do to win this race to 20 so C9 cannot contest them during the next map objective. That backdraft, though, gaining an absurd amount of value in this triple melee composition, but keep in mind, her survivability is far lower. If K1's able to get a very good gust, if Arthalon gets a good entomb, we can very much see the heart and soul of Faye just disappearing with no arcane barrier.
Definitely, and I have to say that was an uncharacteristic miss for K1. 9 times out of 10, if he's flying behind you, it's pretty much good night, because he's going to throw you into his team and you're going to go down. Fantastic heads-up play there from from Cognitive to be able to split like the Red Sea as the air gust just goes through them like a wind tunnel. They stay in their ground and K1 quickly dispatched. Fantastic fishing hook from Glarong. You can run away, Arthalon, but you're not going to be able to get very far. Great heads-up wall from Iacona to make sure that he goes down. And we have another 5v4 situation with a Shrine activating.
Yeah, and we sit into a situation where because Arthalon, even though he is very good at being able to tank the hooks from his opponents, because he doesn't have extended E, it's going to be very difficult for him to truly run away and survive those situations. So really well done here from Cognitive. Perfect play, about to hit level 20 over their opponents here. The Shrines are going to spawn. They're going to be able to get this. It will have to go through a fort. Keep in mind, this lane is the least pushed lane in the entire map. These Shamans, double Shamans, stacked on top of each other, should be able to dispatch this pretty easily. It will be looking for the keep wall, and I would really like to see, once they get the map objective here, trying to force the level 10 or level 20 team fight with the Punisher. The minute it leaps, forcing the fight here, and I feel like Cognitive might be able to walk away with this game. But the skirmish on bottom, iDream getting clipped.
Definitely, iDream gets clipped again. Iacona's walls have been absolutely stunning this entire game. Every time, oh my goodness. Was that a pre-cleanse?
It was pre-cleansed. Yeah,
wow.
That's one thing a lot of people might miss out there. Yeah, Dunk Train pre-cleansed that, so we couldn't risk losing it there. Keep in mind also on the top lane, Bolt wasn't used, but King Caffeine just used Blessed Shield, and Faye survived without that. So look for a big backdraft play here from Faye.
Fantastic collapsing from Cognitive onto Cloud9. Arthalon and King Caffeine looking in a bad way here. The breath comes out from Diablo. It's enough to finish the fort. Spot on hook from Stitches pulls Arthalon into the undead form as he is quickly dispatched. And it is again a 5v4, the story of this game for Cognitive.
Now, what we see coming out of K1 Pro here is, if you notice, C9 has never been fighting over the map objective. They've already conceded it. They understand with level 20 they can't do anything, but what they have been looking to do is fight on mid, fight on bottom, siege, soak, everything they can. So by the time, because Faye has been the only person working on this map objective, they are now almost level 20 as this Cognitive is capturing this, allowing them to have the best defense possibilities they possibly could have had. I would have liked to see Cognitive commit a little bit more to this, but keep in mind, they still have a very strong advantage here. Though if they take out this front wall, great hook. Leoric, he's going to E in time. Good job by Arthalon there. And once the Punisher leaps, expect a very hard engage here from Cognitive.
Definitely. They're going to look as the Punisher, their own John Cena, to come off the top rope. And he does go on to Arthalon, which is probably the best target Cloud9 could have hoped for here. Great positioning to make sure that happens. The bio goes out from Glaurung. It looks like he is going to be stunned. They push the rest of them back so they can focus on Glaurung. The Arcane Punisher is throwing down some Arcane Beams here that are going to do a fair amount of damage. Right now we've got something of a stalemate as Cloud9 is forced to retreat.
They're baiting it to the big keep, so it doesn't go to the core. This is really great play from Cloud9. Just need to point that out.
Wow, no, fantastic call out there. Sonya does go down, however, and it's going to be another 5v4. It continues to wail on Arthalon. I think his E may be down. Caterpillar trying to get in there and get the suplex in, but another E comes up just in time. Diablo is going to go down, but his trait is up. He's going to be right back in, and it looks like that's as much as Cog is going to be able to get out of it right now. Fantastic heads-up play there from Cloud9, baiting it to that center keep, making sure that the core remains undamaged.
Yeah, and they end up going 1-for-1 there. Diablo instantly getting the res, so they aren't able to totally ensure that that keeps go down. If Diablo had stayed alive, they may have had the opportunity to do that. Hyperion was burnt with the Immortal after it was at the keep, so they didn't have that to ensure that that keep go down, but really smart play there. They did lose Sonya in the process, but honestly, losing Sonya or losing the game, I'll take losing Sonya all day. Good job from Cloud9 there.
Definitely. Another wall is going to make sure Arthalon does go down. Glaurung has been on point with those hooks. The Tassadar D there, the Oracle, allowing him to get the vision necessary to really make use of those extended fishing hooks. And here comes another one, maybe? It looks like he has a vision. Glaurung's looking to see if he can't grab K1 Pro, but I think it's going to fade in time.
Oh, that was so close. That was really good. All right, so now Arthalon's only going to be dead for roughly, it says 20 seconds, but it's going to be more like 15 to 10 seconds. They do have a camp here. They're going to try and force. They don't have Hyperion for 6 seconds. This could be a risky choice here coming from Cognitive unless they get very big batch draft play. There they go. They're going to back out, look for the hook. Ooh,
he tried to get him spawn as he spawned. That would have been a great play from Glaurung there. Mistiming it just a little bit, but that does go ahead and concede them to go ahead and head back for their Shaman camp.
Yeah, no, really well done. Cognitive definitely showing here in game number 2 that they have the ability to take out Cloud9 here. The keep in mid is still at half health. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen. The map objective spawning on the middle half of the map. All right, so what does this mean for the teams? Really, when it comes down to it, that middle keep now, if this goes in favor of dead even fight, in favor of Cognitive, that middle keep is almost 100% dead, and it's much harder to bait it to the lower half of the map. Cloud9 then has to bait it to that down there again, and they have the potential to end this game. So this Punisher is very threatening. The other way around, there is a front wall up, could end the game as well, but more picks are going to need it for Cloud9, so this is going to be higher value for Cognitive, and see how they play. Great Entomb here from Mark.
Fantastic Entomb. Glaurung instinctively pops his bile to make sure he stays up, and it does work. It looks like they do manage to get Arthalon, and he goes down despite the stim. Dunk Train pulled back in. She's got nowhere to run. Dunk Train goes down. King Caffeine also super low health. They're all running away here. If they manage to get one more pick, this is certainly the game, but it looks like they are able to back off in time. And it looks like Cognitive is going to choose to stay here and finish off this Punisher.
I want you all to admire. That was a great bile. That was a great Tassadar shield. There was a lot of things that were awesome that team fight, but I don't think I've seen more of a value, hardened shield here than I've ever seen on Glaurung right there. The Entomb comes out. They blew everything on him. He proceeded to pop his shield and actually just not care. Then a great hook from him. Glaurung, absolutely perfect play there. Look at Arthalon. He knows that this could be game. He's baiting it, trying to delay it as long as he possibly can. Cognitive does not care. They're looking to try and end the game here as fast as they can. If they all in the core and the Punisher stays with it, Arthalon maybe getting another pick there. If this does, there's the leap. This should be game here. Arthalon does end up going down. King Caffeine is going to be risky. A couple more picks, Josheb, is all it's going to take.
Great wall there to keep King Caffeine in focus, and they are going to take their focus off of him and head back in onto iDream. iDream with the gust. K1 with the gust manages to get the team away. iDream manages to get into his spawn before the bomb goes off. It does look like they are focusing on core here. Very tight game. It looks like King Caffeine is going to go down. No, his level 20 does go off, allowing him to stay up just a little bit longer, and I think that is going to be game. Cognitive taking game 2. We're going to game 3.
We're going to game 3, boys. We're going to game 3. We have
happening.
C9 versus
Call your mom,
Cognitive.
let her know we're going to game 3. I'm hyped.